Welcome to the first episode of the Weekly Daily Marvelite, the online show where we summarize the previous week in Marvel news as well as look forward to the next. So what do we have for this first episode? Well, as Star-Lord said, something good, something bad, a bit of both. Speaking of which, the Guardians of the Galaxy is still breaking all kinds of records. In fact, the movie took an additional $10 million domestically this weekend, as well as another $11.5 million internationally.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing the new franchise to a massive $586 million, passing even the domestic total of Warner Bros. Man of Steel. Yes, you heard that right, Guardians of the Galaxy has already passed Man of Steel. Sorry, Superman. Knowing that the movie has not even opened in China and Japan yet, it is really not bad for a bunch of a-holes. Next, we have some sad news for Iron Man fans. Those of you hoping for a fourth Iron Man movie might have to wait a lot longer. According to Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr., there isn't one in the pipe. In fact, the actor revealed in an interview with Variety, no, there is no plan for a fourth Iron Man. When asked whether or not he would be willing to pass on the role to another actor in the future, it seems this would not exactly be Downey's call to make. I like that the idea is that it would be up to me, like I'm casting director for Marvel, Downey said. In another bummer news that has just surfaced today, Hank Pym will not be suiting up in the Ant-Man movie. Michael Douglas stated to MTV, "My costume will be hung up and Paul will be wearing it in good form." This may come as a disappointment to anyone wanting to see the original Ant-Man Hank Pym jump into action. Still, there may be some hope seeing Pym kicking some butt should the movie involve any flashback sequences. As we all know, the man in the suit will be Pym's successor, Scott Lang, played by the always amusing Paul Rudd, and Douglas was nothing but complimentary on the way the actor fills out his hand-me-downs. "Paul Rudd is ripped," said Michael Douglas. "He's been training and working out for this picture for a long time. He was so cut that they had to soften his costume up with all the built-in six-pack and all of that." Marvel's Ant-Man will arrive in cinemas, of course, in summer 2015. Now enough of the bummer news, and let us move on to something exciting. Some exciting Marvel news. How exciting? Well, how about Avengers Age of Ultron level of exciting? We all knew Vision, the android who in the comics is created by Ultron, will join Earth's Mightiest Heroes in the sequel, since the Marvel announcement, of course, during the SDCC. However, besides a small image showing the android from his back, we had no clue how close to the comics he will look. The answer, thanks to Instagram user YoungJip, sorry if I misspelled your name, is pretty damn close and amazing. As you can see from this leaked image, the flying android looks very similar to his comics counterpart, something only Joss Whedon could make work. Speaking always of Vision, another leak took place today, and this time it is a concept art for what looks like a slideshow action figure for the character. The leaked image gave us a proper detailed look at the Vision. In other interesting news, another famous actor is showing interest in joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After Robert Redford and Michael Douglas, it is now renowned actor Al Pacino who expressed his desire to star in an upcoming Marvel movie. Who's Al Pacino, you might ask? Well, this guy.
Do you want to play rough? Okay. Uno. Say hello to my little friend!
After watching the Guardians of the Galaxy, which he described as the most entertaining, inventive, beautiful film, Al Pacino revealed it was not something I would readily go see, but my kids got me to go, and one has to draw the line at where prejudice starts and where it ends. That was good stuff. I recognized the ingenious stuff they were doing, the invention, the attractiveness of the way they were performing it. It had a Shakespearean feeling to it at times. High praise indeed. When quizzed as to whether he would like to appear in a similar Marvel film, the actor added, I would do anything that I could understand in terms of how I fit in it. Anything's possible. You heard that, Kevin Feige. Now on the television front, we had our first look at a new character from a Marvel show. When Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. returns for its second season on September 23rd, acting director Phil Coulson will require the help of a skilled mercenary by the name of Lance Hunter, who is portrayed by actor Nick Blood, and yes, that is his real name. And thanks to ET Online, we have our first look at Lance. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. executive producer Marissa Ten-Sherwin had this to say about the new character. Now that S.H.I.E.L.D. has fallen, Coulson has to look outside of the organization for help and make uneasy alliances with people like Lance Hunter. Hunter is a mercenary, in it for the money, not the cause. Whether his allegiance is to anyone but himself is still in question. That sounds interesting. For those of you wondering about the picture, which shows the comic book character next to Nick Blood's photo, your gut is right. Lance Hunter is a very obscure Marvel Comics character. In the comics, Lance first appeared in Captain Britain during the late 70s. Created by Gary Friedrich, Hunter was introduced as a Royal Navy commander who became director of Strike. Now, for those of you who consider themselves big Marvelites, you will already know that the Strike team has already appeared in the MCU, led of course by Agent Brock Rumlow, specifically in this year's mega blockbuster Captain America the Winter Soldier. Whether the show will take some hints from the comics counterpart remains to be seen. Animation-wise, we had our first animated debut of Agent Venom. The character, which is Flash Thompson fused with Venom symbiote, was the focus of the latest Ultimate Spider-Man Web Warriors episode. And for those of you unaware, Ultimate Spider-Man Web Warriors is the title of the third season of the hit animated show, which promises longer story arcs this time around and an adaptation of the Spider-Verse comic arc. Now let us talk about the Marvel things you should not miss this week. First and foremost, the first season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will release on DVD and Blu-ray this Tuesday. For those who dropped the show early on before it found its footing, this is your chance to catch up on one of the most underappreciated, really good shows on TV, before it takes the cable channels by storm when it returns for a second season in the next few weeks. And because this is the internet and your opinion doesn't really matter, if you don't like the first season after watching it entirely, then screw you! Second thing to look forward to, which is this time on the publishing side, are the top 3 comic books that you should buy this Wednesday. Well, first of all, we have The Death of Wolverine number 2. Why should you buy it, you might ask? Well, because it's Wolverine and because he's dying. The next comic we have is Avengers 34.1. This issue will fully focus on Hyperion. And why should you buy it? Because it's Hyperion, of course. The guy is one of the best Avengers that has ever been on the team. And the last, but by no means least, Hawkeye number 20 will be released this Wednesday. Why you should buy it? Well, because this series has only 2 more issues before it ends. This is a really kick-ass and award-winning series by Matt Fraction that you should definitely check out. Well folks, this is all for our first weekly Daily Marvelite. Make sure to like, follow and subscribe, and above all, check us daily on thedailymarvelite.com for your daily fix of all Marvel news. This is your host, The Dude, and until next week, Excelsior!